again. Show play.
I know. Hey, sister girls.
Girl.
Listen. Hey, if you've ever struggled with weight, health issues, or confusing advice about cholesterol and sugar, this is the episode to you. Today, I'm going to share my personal journey of healing. Robyn is going to reveal some truths about that same question that y'all keep asking me. And DeNitra is going to uncover the signs of having this new terminology for most of us of insulin resistance. That is the new thing. We were just talking about it before we came onto the show because that's not what we are used to hearing. And I had to compliment her on how she broke that thing down. And it's like, if it resonated with me, I know it's going to resonate with you guys. So, uh, this episode, we're going to break it down, and I am getting ready to hit on into it. All right. But you ladies can just say hello. I'm not going to skip over you. DeNitra, just say hello. Robyn, say hello. And then I'm going to start my story.
Good
Y'all
evening,
can.
everyone. Good to see you all again. Super elated to be here. Can't wait to hear all of this G has to tell us.
All right, you
Okay.
guys, welcome back to another episode of Hey Sister Girl.
That's it.
Your carnivorous grandma here. We'll be back in a little while.
There you go. Okay. In my story, I had a whole list of illnesses. From wait a minute, I got my little notes up here because I did not want to miss anything. Oh, wait, they're not showing up. My fibromyalgia, my spinal stenosis. See, y'all might know some people, and if you do, please stop now and send this forward. Have them in here with you. If you can relate to any of these things, I didn't even get a full body massage till I was well in my late 50s. That's how long it's been for anyone to press on me. My body hurt. And for those that don't know, most of my weight gain came uh, in the unhealthy acts that I was doing to care for myself in the midst of caring for a daughter that I was told that she was going to die. I mean, there it is. And my daughter died in my arms at the age of 30. She took her last breath in my arms. And what I used to do is care for her, the two kids, of course, hubby, and I would eat towards the evening. And then at that point, I've done so much throughout the day. I'm going to eat what it is that I want to eat. Whether I was up frying buffalo wings for myself, making my own sauce, because during the day, I'm caring for everyone else. I know someone can resonate with what it is that I'm saying. I know that you can. And so if anyone relates to my story, go ahead and put it, look, raise your hand. Where I got up in the morning, started caring for the grandkids. I'm that old traditional. I got up every morning and I fixed breakfast. So those kids had a hot meal going out the door. I was the one that pressed the clothes. I did all the things that needed to be done. And I cared for myself late in the evening if I had energy left, because there was always a load of clothes to wash, a floor to mop, counters to wipe down, hair to comb. There was always something. And I neglected my body, this temple that we are taught that this is the temple of the living God. And how is it that I can't stand? I can't lay down. I'm pumped on meds. I am sitting while they telling me about having surgery. So just to kind of give you, this is my husband and I, over time, just like swole for no reason. And I'm going to show you guys a little of Danielle. So I need to put you in a place to know that whatever it is that you're going through right now, whatever it is, one of us on here probably been there, done that. That is the reason why we come live to you. So, and normally I put up a little warning sign of some of the pictures. I will like hit that disclaimer real quick. Pause it if you need to. And everyone, here is my
G, you are muted, just in case you did not know that.
I totally 100% believe that she could have lived longer with her kids, with her children. So I lost my mom, and I look at them, it's like, oh my God, how did you guys make it? How did you make it? Because no one has that mother's love. No one. I don't care. No one. And that's, I even had to explain that to her kids because my grandson will look and it's like, but, and I'm like, that's their mom. And unfortunately, you, for as much as I love you, it's still not your mother's love. So I'm going over all of these things to let you guys know there is change. We're going to come next week. I'm just going to tell y'all this little, give you a little teaser. Next week, Robyn's going to share her story. So listen, so you guys get a chance to know us and understand that, hey, sister girl, when we talking to you, we mean this thing. We mean this thing. Your health needs to change. Your thighs rubbing together. I sat at a meeting and this woman, I had to look up. I thought she was asleep of her heavy breathing, talking about what we were having for lunch. Not we've come full circle with the big girl magic. It's okay if you're carrying weight, some extra while you working on yourself, but are you tired of being in pain? Are you tired of the swelling? Are you wait, they done told us some dark circles under the eyes. You just need a little rest. Oh, come on. All these things. No, no, sis, that's not it. Now, with this being said, there is something that is always being asked of me when I share how the carnivore diet transformed me. Okay? Frederick in 2022 was on a walker, and I normally show that one too, but he was on a walker. We were shopping for an electric wheelchair. I did not know which direction that he and I were headed into. We came upon the carnivore diet. I was a vegan. I'll say that again, 4.5 years vegan. I was a fluffy vegan. In less than 3 weeks, I looked at him and said, we have to start a YouTube channel. There's no way that we could do this, feel the way that we're feeling, and not share. So when I say to you, you're going to feel remarkable, I'm not kidding you. You're going to feel remarkable. And just to give you a little visual of my before and after, there's my largest. That was the standard American diet. And now I eat what I'm supposed to eat. Okay? So please note, that's him and I. Oh, we were out and about doing all the things that we need to do. And now I'm just going to throw that one in. Okay? I'm being truthful with this. But once again, there's a question that's always being asked of me. And I'm going to have Robyn to explain this to you. Miss Robyn, take it away.
All right. So the question that she is talking about is, well, what about your cholesterol? So tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about cholesterol. We're gonna just keep it a little bit high level, but I am going to share my screen. So, how do we make that big? We're trying to figure this out. Let's try it again. There we go. All right, so we're talking about a little bit about cholesterol tonight. I want to make sure that everybody is aware that I am not a doctor or a physician, but I want to just talk to you about a little bit of the research that I have done around cholesterol. So we know that cholesterol gets a bad rap. Everybody always asks, well, what about my cholesterol? You hear people saying my cholesterol went up and they're all worried about it. But cholesterol is not a villain. Okay. So cholesterol is critical. It's essential. It's a vital substance that your body naturally produces. It's so important that your liver actually makes most of it. And so even if you don't consume any cholesterol from your diet, your liver is going to continue to produce cholesterol because cholesterol is critical. All right. So, what does cholesterol do? It helps to maintain your cell membranes. It keeps your cells strong and functional. Supports hormone production. Let me go to the next slide. Oh, yeah. Okay. Supports hormone production, including estrogen, testosterone, and cortisol. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. But I want to talk about some myths that we have heard, right? And we want to debunk these, right? The idea that cholesterol in general, the having high cholesterol is bad. So we've been told to steer clear of foods like eggs and red meat, to avoid those, to lower your cholesterol. But as I said, cholesterol is a vital substance. Your body's producing it naturally. And cholesterol is not bad. Cholesterol is good and critical to your bodily function. Avoiding red meat. So I think I heard somebody say recently that I was talking to a person, it might have been DeNitra. I was talking to a person and the person told me, I haven't ate red meat in 40 years. Come on. Avoiding red meat and eggs. This is a myth, like that that eating red meat and eggs is going to cause you to have high cholesterol or have a heart attack. So studies confirm that eggs, red meat, and other animal-based foods are nutrient powerhouses. So we talk a lot about bioavailability. You know, can the nutrients from the food go from your digestive system into your body? Well, meat is highly bioavailable to the body, while plants are not. So the plant may have the nutrients in it, but you do not have the stomachs to be able to get those nutrients out of the plants. Okay. So meat and eggs, all animal-based foods are nutrient powerhouses, providing essential vitamins and minerals that promote overall health without significantly raising cholesterol. The real health threat isn't the cholesterol in these foods. It is processed sugars, seed oils, and trans fats in ultra-processed foods. All right. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the myth. How did we come to this idea that high fat, high cholesterol, it's basically Ansel Keys effect. So I don't know if you guys have heard of Ansel Keys, but Ansel Keys did a study in the early 20th century, the mid 20th century, and he studied several countries to identify, whether or not high fat causes heart disease. And he published a study called the 7-country study, right? And in that 7-country study, it supposedly showed a link between dietary fat and heart disease. And however, Ansel Keys actually studied 22 countries, and he only cherry-picked the data that actually aligned with his hypothesis. So of the 22 countries that he studied, he only published a report about 7 of those. So he omitted countries that didn't show that same correlation or connection between fat consumption and heart disease. So our whole dietary guideline for the last, I don't know, so many years have been based on this faulty study or this cherry-picked study. So now we have a heart health, cholesterol fallacy that's out there. We have issues with dietary fat and the consumption of animal fats, and we've switched over to these seed oils, which are really toxic for the body. So this 7-country study became the foundation for our nutritional guidelines. So this is a huge factor as to why we are in the position that we're in today with our food and our way of eating, and why we're seeing so much metabolic disease. So cholesterol's role in the body, it's essential for you to have cholesterol in your body. It does so many things, but I wanted to just point out these few. So as far as hormone production is concerned, cholesterol is a building block for crucial hormones like estrogen and testosterone, which regulate reproductive health. And then also cortisol. So cortisol is our stress hormone. Sorry, I got a typo there. It helps manage our emotional and physical stress. Without enough cholesterol, your body struggles to maintain hormonal balance, and that can lead to fatigue, mood swings, and a myriad of other health issues. The next one is for brain and nervous system health, right? So brain is cholesterol rich, and there's a reason for that, because it depends on cholesterol for proper functioning, for proper brain function. So cholesterol supports the protective myelin sheath around your nerves, ensuring clear communication between your brain and body. We know what happens when your myelin sheath it wears away. That's like dementia, Alzheimer's, those types of things. So that myelin sheath is critical, and cholesterol supports that. It also plays a role in memory and cognitive health. And studies show cholesterol levels linking to cognitive decline and depression. If you don't have enough cholesterol in your body for your body to do these things, you're not going to feel good. You're not going to feel happy. You're going to feel maybe depression and some cognitive decline. We talk a lot about brain fog and things like that. Those things you will feel when you don't have enough cholesterol in your body. Finally, immune support. Cholesterol plays a role in immunity. It transports antioxidants to fight oxidative stress and also helps the body to manage inflammation. And inflammation is the enemy. Cholesterol is not the enemy, but inflammation is. And I think DeNitra is going to talk more about inflammation in her segment. All right, let me go to the next slide. So the big picture is this, that the dietary cholesterol is not the enemy. So you eating eggs is not going to be the problem. Though eggs are a great cholesterol-rich source of food, your liver is making the majority of the cholesterol that's in your body. And then there's a dietary impact. There's a minimal impact of dietary cholesterol on your blood panel, your lipid blood panel, because your body is tightly regulating the level of your cholesterol. So that's what this slide is trying to indicate. So your body is regulating that cholesterol level. So I wanted to just say that there is this fallacy out here that LDL cholesterol is bad cholesterol. And so, we've been focused on bad LDL cholesterol, and it overshadowed the real culprit, which I just said is inflammation. You talk about, anyway, I'm not going to go into what inflammation is, but inflammation is the problem. So we want to avoid these things, processed foods, right? Sugar and industrial seed oils. And then the particle size of the LDL particle does matter, because they will say your LDL and they'll give you a number, and that number that they give you does not account for the size or the impact of your LDL particles. So you want large, fluffy particles. A lot of our lean mass hyperresponders are people who their cholesterol goes really high when they go on a low carb or ketogenic carnivore diet, because their large fluffy particles start just growing exponentially. And large fluffy particles are not a problem in the body, but those small dense particles could potentially be. So we want to focus on the size of the particles. So there's tests that you can request when you get your lipid panel drawn to allow them to see what those particle sizes are as well. All right, so let me see here. So let's focus on like getting the proper nutrition. Nutrition is a really big factor. We want to make sure that we're choosing wisely, and these are the keys. Cholesterol is essential, like we all need it. And I think lack of cholesterol is causing a lot of problems for people. We've all heard about the statin, and your doctor may say your cholesterol is high. You need to go on a statin. They may insist that you go on a statin. And just remember that low cholesterol is more problematic than high cholesterol. And then, oh my God, are you laughing at my typos? Got another typo in here. Inflammation is highly problematic. All right. So I want to just hand it off to DeNitra. So with all this conflicting advice out here, DeNitra's our metabolic health coach, and we love her. And we are so excited that she's going to talk a little bit more about how protein, fat, and cholesterol work together to optimize your health. So take it away, DeNitra.
Yes, ma'am. You did an amazing job on cholesterol. Cholesterol can be a bit complicated to understand, but you did a great job breaking it down. The key, one thing I just want to point out is that cholesterol, even when it's high, it shows up to protect you, not to harm you. And one of the examples I often give, because we've been told that cholesterol is what causes us, atherosclerosis, it's a heart risk. The thing that I say about that, if you think just real in simple terms, I'm an elementary school teacher, so I'm gonna make it real simple. I always ask the question about if you put butter and water on the floor and you dance around on it, you're gonna slip and slide, right? If you put sugar and water down on the floor, it's gonna get sticky and you're gonna stick to it. And so it's the same way these components operate in our body. So when your body is warm, then you're eating something that is butter, it's going to keep moving. It's not going to get stuck. What gets stuck in the body is sugar, the pastas, the breads. And so I often try to help people understand that that's what's happening in the body. The other thing that I want to add to that is if someone has been diagnosed as having high LDL cholesterol, my high suggestion is that you go back to that doctor and you ask that doctor for what we call a CAC score. That's a coronary artery calcium score. When we are diagnosed with or treated for cholesterol, we are being treated for those as a risk factor based on the study of Ansel Keys, which Robyn at Carnivorous Grandma just helped debunk for us. So that study is proof in the pudding that he brought forth what made him sound right. And it was only years later that it was recovered that there were much more research involved that he did not report. So I just want to add those things, caveat for cholesterol, so that we can continue to dive deep, that we can continue to be advocates for ourselves, so that we can get information that's going to help us be well. That is the whole goal, is that we be well. And so what I want to do is kind of turn the corner a little bit, building on G's story. And G, thank you for sharing your heartfelt story. Thank you for including us, because those things matter. What you have here is not people who have heard about what we're talking about. We have lived what we are talking about. And so you all are going to always hear me hop on insulin resistance. That is not a term that is common to the average person. The term that we often hear is diabetes or pre-diabetic. And I think we get really comfortable when we find out that we're not diabetic. We're just pre-diabetic. I got a touch of sugar. The doctor told me to watch it. And so what I want us to hear loud and clear tonight, again and again, is that diabetes and pre-diabetes are one manifestation of insulin resistance. They're one manifestation. They're not it. And so you can be walking around here insulin resistant and never get diabetes. Yours may show up as something different. And so this is why we want to make sure that we understand what's happening in the body with insulin. And so I'm going to take a dive, and this is a document that I use often. I have a PowerPoint, but there's some good things that I want to make sure we cover in this document. And again, we've shared it in multiple shows. We'll share it again tonight, because I want us to become really familiar with identifying insulin resistance. So bear with me 1 second. I'm going to flip to my deck here. And if you're looking for good information, you can always check out the Society of Metabolic Health Practitioners when you hear and see any of my information that I am a metabolic health practitioner. I've had the same training that doctors that are moving toward helping their patients. I've had that same training. And so that's why I'm considered a metabolic health practitioner. So for doctors, medical nurses, that are trying to start using carbohydrate restriction as a way to treat their patients versus using medicine. That's the training that I have from the Society of Metabolic Health Practitioners. So one of the things that I want us to first notice here is that in our country, and these numbers are a little skewed because they've actually gone up, there are 93% of Americans that are metabolically unhealthy. Only 7% of Americans are metabolically healthy. And so I often ask the question, which group are you in? Okay, don't answer that question out loud. Don't raise your hand. But tell yourself, which group do I want to be in? How do we expand the 7% of Americans? This is how we do it, right? We want to move this number up. And one of the ways is to consider that insulin resistance is, insulin, first of all, is a hormone that operates in the body. Now, the rest of y'all may have been much smarter than me. I didn't know that insulin was already in my body when I started getting into this and doing my research. I thought insulin was what diabetics take, and that was it. But insulin is a hormone that's in your body that has a function, and the function of it is for it to wake up when food comes into the body so that it helps move food where it needs to be in the body so that glucose gets to your cells. When there is an overproduction of sugar in your body, then insulin has to work overtime. He has to work extra. He has to go get his boys and bring them over like, she ain't acting right. Come on, help me out. And so he goes to get help. That means there's more insulin in the body. But for us, that insulin is impacting, if you look over here on the left side, this glucose factor and insulin factor impacts all of these areas of the body, the brain, the ears, the heart, the muscles, the fat, the liver. So when we walk around and we think that we are just not pre-diabetic or we are not diabetic, then we think all is well. But if you walk with me to the other side of this, you will see that all of these, and y'all, there's so many more metabolic issues. So heart disease, where we have been blaming salt and pork, it's not salt and pork, it is sugar. Where we've been blaming obesity, it is sugar. Fatty liver, and we've had to rename it. So we have two now. We have an alcoholic fatty liver and a non-alcoholic fatty liver. And the non-alcoholic looks just like the fatty alcoholic liver. However, the person is not a drinker. We're talking, sometimes this happens in children. PCOS, erectile dysfunction. Dementia is now called type 3 diabetes. And cancer, we've heard often that cancer feeds on sugar. And then kidney. And then diabetes is just, again, one manifestation. I often say that if you are pre-diabetic, that is not an initial diagnosis. It actually is culminating. That means that you have already had 10 years of damage happening to your body before it showed up in a lab. Let me say that again. That's what G always say. Let me say that again. If you are diagnosed with as pre-diabetic, you are insulin resistant. Any of these things that I've named on here, you are insulin resistant. And it is 10 years of damage that you have had on your body, where your body has been metabolizing too much sugar, attempting to metabolize sugar, and it wasn't working. So now it's like, okay, I got to show up on the lab somewhere. It's kind of like when you get a burn on your arm and you don't initially see the bruising, everything looks cool. You can feel the sting, but you don't see signs of it. That's the same way insulin resistance works. It takes time. Okay. All right. So then next, looking at this part, the thing that I want you to see here is what's happening in the body. You eat a high carbohydrate meal. What do I mean by that? You got up in the morning time and you thought you were being healthy. You had your bowl of oatmeal. You had your wheat toast. You ate your Honey Nut Cheerios. You ate all your fruit. You ate your vegetables, your potatoes. And what happened? It spiked your blood sugar. Whenever blood sugar spikes, insulin is going to rise up. But why does insulin rise up? Insulin rises up to put blood sugar down. Okay. And so at some point when there's not eating, you may get to a normal place. But over time, as you keep having these cycles of this, do you see what happens? High blood sugar, high insulin. Now I'm insulin resistant. That means your cells have stopped responding to insulin. They like, I'm out. You know what? Go ahead. You overworking me. I quit this job. Shove it. I'm gone. Right. And so now this is when the damages start. These are when the manifestations start to become more obvious. And so the more obvious they become, the more pains you have. So that itis that you have in your knees is not old age. That itis is the sugar. Robyn talked about inflammation. G talked about inflammation. These things that are not processing in our bodies have become inflammation to the body. Now, a doctor or somebody else is gonna call it fat, and technically it's fat. But I like to have people understand that it is inflammation. It is like punching in the eye over and over and over again, and you get this black eye. The black eye is never going to go away until you stop punching. Once you stop punching, there's room to heal. So what's happening in the body is that we are feeding it foreign substances. And the more we feed the body those foreign substances, our body is expanding. It has nowhere else to go. We're not going to poop it out immediately. And we'll talk about poop in a minute, right? So because it's not just a run in and run out kind of thing, it has to go somewhere. So it stores as inflammation. All right, moving right along. So let's talk about the contributors to that. And you've heard this, and you will always hear this on Hey Sister Girl, the things that are listed here. And so you see the things we're talking about are sugar, added sugar, the cakes, the cookies, all the ultra processed food. And if you are an alcohol drinker, all of those things are going to cause insulin resistance. And then any kind of poor dietary foods that you take in. And so we ask that you try to avoid those foods there. So it's not enough where we've been told to moderate. There is not really a such thing as moderation, because how do you moderate a cookie? I was talking to a lady who was cutting her crumble in fours so that she could have one piece of the crumble. And then when I showed her that it was 96 carbohydrates in one cookie, so even when you split that up, you still have gotten your daily. And if you like me, I ate 4 cookies, not 4 pieces. Okay. So those are the reasons why you want to take these sugary things out of your diet. Your sedentary lifestyle, sitting and not moving. Now, am I saying overdo your exercise? No, I'm not saying that. Am I saying get on a treadmill and run hard fast for 45 minutes straight where you can't breathe? No, that's not what I'm saying. Resistance training, lifting heavy things, doing some aerobics, taking a brisk walk, going for a swim, sitting in the sauna. These things are good for the body. They get you moving. You want your body upright. The sister girls right now, if anybody want to join us, we're doing a challenge where we're operating on 14,000 steps a day. Just being upright. We're not running. We're not bike riding. We're just moving. I watch Robyn sometimes just walking around her house. I'm going to have more to do because I'm traveling right now. So I'll be walking around the kitchen until I get my steps in. But you want to make sure that your body is upright at all times and moving to get your heart rate going. And then the other thing is stress. And we talked about stress a lot last week. So if you missed last week, you want to go back and check out our last week episode, because we talked a lot about stress. And one of the factors in stress is not getting enough sleep. We need to be resting. Yes, ladies, we need to be resting. Getting adequate sleep is highly important. All right. And then if we go further, a couple of things I want to show you here. This is highly important, guys, because how do I know if I have insulin resistance? Okay. So all of the things that I just said to you, if you have autoimmune, I personally was diagnosed with lupus, which is an autoimmune condition. And as G mentioned earlier, we didn't know like we know now. If we had known some things, I have a loved one that I lost, that if I had known, and several friends, that if I had known like I know now, I would be clucking them over the head and saying, no, we're going to do it this way, girl. Like, no, you're not doing that way. We would be all up in their business. We get in folks' business now. That's why we got Hey Sister Girl. We do say hey, though, and we do call you sister, because we are here to try to help. So if you look at the list that I have now, we want to talk about this waist circumference, right? So I have a new motto in life where I am essentially saying, if I see something, I'm going to say something. I've lost too many loved ones. I have classmates my same age that have lost limbs. I have family members that have lost and had amputations, right? So if you have a large waist circumference, like me, let me just put it back on me, like me, then you have insulin resistance. Okay. If your blood pressure without meds, now if you're on medications for blood pressure and the medication is managing your blood pressure, then not talking to you here, right? I'm talking to folks who are not on blood pressure medicine and your blood pressure medication is higher than the medication. This is a picture of me. Thank you for sharing that. This is a picture of me before. This is when I was insulin resistant. I always say that insulin resistance has a look. This is one of the looks of insulin resistant. I was insulin resistant. I had no neck. My cheeks were poked out. I was sick and no one was saying anything to me. So now I say something. The picture here on the left was also me, right? This was just in 2019. The picture on the left is where I am getting metabolically healthy. Some things are changing for me, but it's because I'm changing what I put in my body, okay? And so those are some things you want to check into if your ankles are swollen. And I saw where we were talking about the dark circles around the eyes. And I know Robyn can speak to this and share. But I saw where Deborah Naomi, Deborah Naomi that's joining us today, says she can't get rid of the black circles. Those black circles are a manifestation of insulin resistance. And literally, and I want to say this with love, but what really is happening to our bodies, y'all, is that we are decaying. Really, we are killing this vessel that God has given us. We're killing it with the foods that we're eating. It can't survive unless it is feeding on the right things. So we're even where the Bible tells us, and yes, I'm a Christian, so you're going to get some of that from me, where the Bible tells us that he wants us to be in good health. And even as our soul prosper, this is what it's talking about. When the Bible talks about presenting your body as a living and holy sacrifice, this is what it's talking about. But it also tells us that my people perish because they lack knowledge. So our goal is to bring knowledge so that we can stop perishing and start living and presenting these bodies as holy and living sacrifices. So the last couple of things I want to touch on is the difference between a fasting blood sugar and a fasting insulin. Okay, fasting blood sugar is where you can take it home, you can tap yourself, put it on a strip and figure out what your insulin is. If you are on any type of meds for diabetes, for insulin resistance, I highly recommend that you are testing yourself. I was working with a lady this weekend who had been running really high sugars, and she had a good sugar today. So you want to make sure that you are checking before you do your meds. Your A1C, ladies, you need to know your A1C just like you know your phone number, like you know your social security number, like you know your address. It's not enough for us to keep going to the doctor and saying to the doctor that the doctor telling us all your numbers are good. It's not enough for us to walk away with it. You need to understand the numbers. Here's the big one that I want you to have as a takeaway, and that is a fasting insulin. So remember earlier, I talked about how insulin produces more insulin when it's getting blood sugar. Insulin is going to show up whenever you eat. But it's trying to decide, am I going to work hard or am I going to work smart? So if you're overfeeding it with carbohydrates, you're making it work hard. And what that does is that makes the insulin run high. So you need to know your fasting insulin. Don't walk away from that doctor tomorrow. My doctor said I'm not pre-diabetic. My doctor said I'm good. All right, doc, can I get a fasting insulin? Okay. I need you asking your doctor if he will send you or do the lab work so that you can have a fasting insulin. Okay. And so I just want to pause and go back to this little paragraph right here that talks about skin tags and darkening of the skin folds. So African-American people, when we are insulin resistant, we produce skin tags. Some of us call them moles. But in some cases, those are skin tags. Those are not things you've had over your life. They are things that have developed over time based on what you've been eating. Okay, so let's not just accept it. And then we're talking about the darkness in our skin. Okay. And so with that being said, I just want to know, do we have any questions? I'm also checking my Facebook as well to see if there are any questions from anyone.
So I had a question because you were talking about the body. You had a diagram that was talking about the body. It had all these different areas of the bodies where sugar shows up. And so I thought about earwax. Like, I noticed when I went carnivore, the amount of earwax that I have is so much less. So I wondered if that is a symptom of metabolic syndrome.
So yes, all of these ailments and these changes. So what happens when we start to give the body what it's supposed to have, then it's going to start to kick out stuff that's not supposed to be there. For me personally, I remember on my journey passing a kidney stone. Now, I was eating junk for a very long time. And it seemed like as soon as I started getting things together, like, why am I getting this kidney stone? When my body was trying to flush all of the inflammation that's there. So when you have inflammation to use, and I often raise up my arm and show inflammation, I'm like, this, I pre-ate, I got a meal for that, I'm good, right? That inflammation has to get out the body. So yes, you're gonna, I say, pee it out, poop it out, cry it out, sweat it out. Yes, there are going to be ways for it to come out, but you may have other ways. You may get runny eyes, but your body is going to start to heal itself. I was just telling my son recently that if we turned our bodies inside out, so when women talk to me about the scale not moving, they say the scale's not moving, the scale's not moving. And I say to them, honey, if you could turn your body inside out and see the damage that has been done to your organs and how much inflammation is sitting on your organs, your body has to heal from the inside out. So this expansion that we see didn't happen first, right? What happened first was on the inside of us.
Right. All right. Well, thank you for answering that question. I think we've answered both of the questions. I want to share my A1C. As you were asking that question, I decided to go and find out what mine was the last time I had it done, which was July 22nd. I'll have it done again in February. My A1C was 5.7. Okay. So how, what do you think of that number?
So if we go back to the chart, and these numbers that we use here with the Society of Metabolic Health are very conservative because we want to raise awareness, right? We don't want you to take it lightly. On some charts, even to the point where I've even seen a 7 being okay to have. And I'm saying to anybody out here, I'm not a doctor and I don't give medical advice, but I'm telling you, you don't want to be dealing with a 7, okay? So we say on here, even a 5.6, because what that says to us is what I said earlier, is that the damage has been being done even before we get that. So 5.7, 5.8, they put you in the pre-diabetic range. 5.5. Right. Yeah. So when you're insulin resistant, and that's the term that we want to use, right? And it's not just the A1C that we're going by. We're going by some of these other things too, right? We are physically looking at ourselves and know that there's still some insulin resistance. Are we on a path and a journey for better? Absolutely, right? I was working with a lady about a year ago. It took her about 6 months to get hers down. She was a 5.8 and now she's in what we call a normal range for her A1C. But even now, I still have her watching her fasting insulin. Okay. So yes, Robyn, we still got work to do. I think my last one was like a 5.7. So it's why I often say, like, we're still on our journey. Like, there is no perfection here. Like, we're only looking for progression, no perfection.
The really interesting thing about it is that this 5.7 was not even pointed out to me as any. The first time I thought of it, like, oh my, that might be a little high, is when I saw your chart here. That 5.6 is the upper limit. So 5.7 is above the upper limit. So that's a problem. So I'm hoping that we'll see a reduction in that in February when I go back.
And Robyn, I want to be really clear. Just want to be really clear is that these numbers, we use them strongly here, like I said, at your doctor's office, if you Googled A1C. But my question becomes again, as a teacher, do you want a 69D verse, like, come on, like, what do you want to be just on the edge, or do you want some wiggle room? Okay. I'm sorry, G. I saw your question coming up.
Yeah, no, I wanted to just say, like Country Girl had on here a 5.9, and this is so true. I'm a visual learner, so whether you have to close your eyes for this, just think on the inside. That's the reason why people can smoke for so long. And one of the campaigns, not to get you to keep smoking, but to stop smoking, had to do. They were doing commercials showing you what your lungs look like, and was saying if you could actually see what was going on the inside, then maybe that would get them to stop smoking, cut back, whatever. So much damage. I'm sorry. So much damage is done on the inside. By the time it makes it to the outside, what we do, we end up buying different bras to help with.
Oh,
Instead of taking care of the fat on the back, we we have every type of spandex. We have it all. Not understanding now all of a sudden your inflammation is really bulging through. It has come around the fat, right? So you turn around with your stomach, the muscles are way down in there. It's just piling and piling, and your organs. Um, DeNitra hit on something when she was talking about the pasta, and I love to give the visual. We normally say it almost on every show. A teaspoon of sugar is all your body. It really don't even require that, but it's like that
I can
is
handle.
right. That's like what's inside of you, a teaspoon, a teaspoon. So whether you call it Diet Coke or not, there's sugar in it. So you got that. There's the sweet tea that you drink. There's the bread that you have. Baby, if you knew how much sugar was in that ketchup that you just added, all was inside of the salad dressings. Let's I'm trying to relieve somebody somewhere. I know what it's like to have that craving for the food. I'm showing you at my biggest. I was 260 plus. I am 5'3". Okay? I know what it's like to eat. And the sad part, I wasn't eating a lot of food. We say that all the time. Do you know how many big people say, I really don't eat that much? A
Yeah.
lot of we say that so much. Now, there are some that are wolfing down 2, 3 Big Macs. I understand that part too. But there are some where you turn around and it's like, well, I really don't eat a lot. It might be that bag of candy. Baby, I was the hot tamale Mike, and I prefer candy over food so many
Mhm.
times. Sis, you didn't gain it overnight. You're not going to lose it overnight. If you're looking for a quick fix, we appreciate that you stayed. We love it. This isn't the quick fix. This is healing
Your body.
first.
Yep. That's right.
Heal your body first. It might have been you, because some young folks might be watching. It might be your daughter. It might be a grand struggling to have a baby. We got a we have a carnivore doctor for that as well. It's
Yes, we
all
do.
of the stuff that you have put in where your cycle is not coming like it's supposed to, because you needed to eat some fat, but you scared of the cholesterol. But that's the healing that it takes to get your body.
So G's on a ship, just so you guys know. That's why she's glitching out a little bit tonight. Her ship is moving. So
Oh my God, I'm gonna stop. That's right. I'm on a ship, y'all. Hey, oh yes,
all
but
right.
that's it. Y'all keep
We
going.
got a couple of questions.
Mm-hmm.
I just popped up one for Country Girl. She says, I'm trying to lose weight. So should I track calories or fast? Between those two options, I say fast. I don't track nothing.
Right. And let me just mention the whole calorie
Right.
thing. There is the concept around calories is flawed as well. So for the listeners, I want you to hear it this way. We don't count calories here.
Right.
Calories, if you think about it, and this is just a little simple example, a donut, a chocolate glazed donut has 300 calories. A piece of salmon has 300 calories. But you have to ask yourself, what are they going to do inside my body? So this is why calories in and calories out, the concept just doesn't work. You want to be counting carbohydrates. And G talked earlier about the teaspoon of sugar. Anything over a teaspoon of sugar causes you to be hyperinsulinemic, right? It means that your body is having to overproduce anything for because you have more sugar in your body. I'm going to give you guys a formula to use. Okay, take this formula. Everybody get their pen and paper out, and then we're gonna go back to the questions. Here's the formula. You always want to be reading the back of your labels, right? It tells you about nutrition facts. And I often say that if it's got to put facts on the back, there has to be a lie somewhere. So they don't anticipate that we're going to go to the back and read. So I need you going to the back and read, and I need you to read the total carbohydrates on the back. And when you read the total carbohydrates, I want you to divide by 4. Whatever that number is. So for example, if it says it's a half a cup and you have 24 total carbohydrates, we don't do net, total carbohydrates, then I need you to divide that by 4. And that's going to tell you in that half a cup is 6 teaspoons of sugar. This is how you can learn how many teaspoons of sugar are in things. And then you remember that your body can only manage 1 teaspoon of sugar. And so if you were dividing 24, that means that's 6 teaspoons of sugar. And so not only did you have a half a cup, because when are we ever going to eat a half a cup of something?
Right.
Never. Right? So you're going to have a cup. You're going to have a cup of sugar. So I need for you all to be informed ingredient inspectors. I need you learning what's on the back before you put it in. I used to tell my students when I was in the classroom, don't be a dummy with a smartphone, right? And I mean that with love. Use that smartphone to Google whatever you eat. You can say, how many carbs are in this? How many carbs are in that? Okay? And so I just want to make sure you all take that formula, and we'll make sure that's in the show notes.
Yes, we will. Okay. So thank you, Country Girl, for your question.
Robyn, there was a question up top.
Raise Your Vibration wants to know, are the A1C home test kits reliable?
I've not had a lot of experience with those tests. I would say rely on a doctor or an own your labs type of place that you can get an actual exam done, because you're supposed to be able to do your A1C every 90 days so that you can see based on what you've changed, what your new A1C should be. So I would say, I'm not going to give a definitive answer, but I would say rely on a doctor's lab.
Exactly. Thank you for that. And then Simpson says, I've been diagnosed with PCOS and have had a dark spot on my armpit that has since disappeared. I think Simpson's on carnivore. Let me clarify, Simpson, are you on carnivore? I believe so. So do I take that as my insulin resistance healing?
I would say, first, of course, I would have some back questions to that. Are you doing something new? Because I know sometimes like we can kind of like guess our way through, like I'm feeling better, I'm looking better, but are you definitively doing something in the realm of restricting carbohydrates, moving more? You understand what your labs are, and then something is disappearing, because things can get better, right? They can mask, they can hide. And so let's just say, yes, you're healing, but I would want to have a caveat with that says, what are you doing to heal? And what other things are you seeing change?
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And then Tanisha says, I've done every diet or eating plan known to man, and I've never lost the weight. I'm one of the ones who never saw success. I tried keto, but when I lost a few pounds, I celebrated. Didn't we all, Tanisha? We all did that.
Yes.
I'm going to try this. Yay. Come
So
on,
Tasha,
Tanisha.
I think it's Tashia.
Tashia, sorry.
I hope we're saying your name
Tashia.
correctly.
I
So
apologize.
Tashia, right, we've all been there as well. And it's why you probably on this show will probably never hear me say keto or low carb, although I know that the ketogenic diet works. It works. However, big food folks have caused us to like really be misinformed relative to what keto really is. So they've taken advantage of the situation, if you will. And so I'm just saying it to say that I don't say keto. So when you say you've tried it, I love seeing that you're now carnivore over a year. Very, very different. And even at keto, I'm going to always say, let's get a clean ingredients, right? Ingredients are important. They matter.
All right, Aona. Can you eat meat and vegetables and lose weight and not just eat meat?
So, yes, you can. Again, I always point back to what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? How does your body react to eating vegetables and meat? What we know is that meat in its purest form is not inflammatory. I'm just going to pause because I know that's hard for some people to hear, right? However,
Say it again.
Yes. So meats is the only thing that is not linked to inflammation. I'm not talking about your processed meats. I'm talking about beef. I'm talking about lamb. I'm talking about your ruminant animals. And what do I mean by ruminant? Ruminator. They got a ruminator. They are not linked. So when we are working with people and us ourselves, we eliminated everything except for meat and things that came from an animal. And then we try putting things back after that. And once we put those things back, we're able to identify where our issues are. For me, I don't eat any fruits nor vegetables at all. It's rare you're going to catch me. I'm visiting family members. I had some peppers today. So far, no bother for me. But for the most part, you're not going to catch me eating an apple, some grapes, some strawberries, because I've had my issues with them because I eliminated them and my body started to heal.
Yes. Thank you.
I love that, what Mandel said.
Keto is much like Jesus in the corrupted presentation of a healer.
I like that.
All right. Thank you, Mandel.
And Ayana, yes, I see I saw another question from a guy up there, and I do want to address his question.
Okay.
That's somebody from my Facebook page, so I want to make sure. But yes, you can't eat pork sausage. Again, I'm going to always point us back to reading our ingredients. Sausages are very processed. They're not ultra processed, but they're very processed, right? There's a difference between ultra processed and processed.
Oh,
the idea is to reach your ingredients. And Demarcus, y'all, Demarcus is my cousin. Thank you for joining, cuz I appreciate it. Yes, and yes, cousin is working on something for men. We can start it at your church, Demarcus. So let's get it going. Yes, cousin will come on and work with the men because the message works for them too. I don't know if you've been following. My husband has lost. G has a story. G, if you can pull up pictures of your husband. So yes, this works for men too. And we need men first leading this charge with other men. It makes a whole difference. That's Sam and I, when we initially got married. And then there's another one, I think, on our wedding, G, that I don't know if you have that one. And then, yep, that was me the day we got married, and that's us earlier this year. So by all means, Bring the men on. We'll talk, cousin. Thank you for joining. I flipped it on my page, so I appreciate you for joining.
All right. I believe that we have covered all of the questions at this point. So, G, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Oh, no. We're not going to do me because of all of this. So I'm going to trust that we're going to ride this thing on out next week. Robyn is going to share her story. Her story is phenomenal because I believe everybody haven't lost their child. But I promise you, what she's going to share will reach the lives of so many more people. So stay tuned. We appreciate you guys for showing up with us. What y'all want to add? I've streamed our information on here. Y'all come back and see us next week. Yeah, I'm almost scared to talk. I'm like, might be breaking up, but
You're
hopefully
not.
you
You're
guys
good. You're
felt
good.
we good right now.
You're
Hopefully you
good.
guys felt our heart in this in this segment. I just felt it was so important because sometimes, you feel like, oh, they already do. Y'all see me like this. Boo-boo, this ain't my story. You could not have told me I was going to end up being this size before I leave the earth. I'm not lying. I saw, no, I ain't have a problem taking a picture. Y'all, I have not had a problem taking a picture. What you talking? Look, honey, we was eating fine, doing it all. But I can tell you how much better life is now. So, sis, your thighs don't have to rub together. Your breathing don't have to be deep like that. All of those ailments, you don't have to have the back fat. There's a video out there. So I was walking, all I heard was
You
as them
already know.
thighs was rubbing together. You don't have to have that. When we talked about skin tags, them little moles, my step grandmother used to have me tie strings around them and tie them off. Right? We've come up. You were never supposed to have them. That's the part I just really want to drill down. Lupus. No, you're not supposed to. Autoimmune. You're not supposed to have those things. Your body, listen to me, your body gave up. Sugar won. Sugar in the form of a fruit, sugar in the form of candy, sugar in the form of pasta, sugar in the form of bread, sugar in the form of chips, sugar in the form of cake, pie, all of these things. Your body said, stop. Sugar in the form, like she said, wheat bread, brown rice, sugar in the form of smoothies. And then, oh, I just don't know if I can do all them vegetables. So you load it up and then you're going to top it off with some honey. Or maybe you got real maple syrup. Been there, done that. No longer want to live like that. So we will plead our case to you every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central, and y'all figure it out on the mountainside. And even if you're watching it in the replay, sister girl. Hey, sister girl, this is our time. Take care. Stop being that grandmama that's sitting on the sofa just watching life go by. I'm the oldest on the panel. I'm out there playing basketball. Now, in my mind, I'm going like this. On the camera, I was going more like this on the camera, but I was out there. So I'm saying, grab your life back. Let's do this. Y'all need to add anything before we say goodbye.
I'm good.
I just want to, for anyone who wants to join the challenge, we're going to do another challenge on the 1st of January.
1st.
So stay tuned for that. And then I see, okay.
We're gonna get a lot of that. Thank you for bringing that back up because y'all, I'm winning right now. I'm saying it out loud. Did you hear them? Oh, it was over there. Yeah, y'all, I'm messy, y'all. I'm winning right now. So y'all gonna come in and get a little discouraged when y'all see my good numbers.
That's all right. Y'all get ready for January 1. Don't
January
start
1,
now.
y'all get ready.
And also get ready for Carnivore Month. For anybody who wants to
Yes.
join us for Carnivore Month, the whole month of January. I know you're gonna hear people talking about veganary, but we're gonna talk about carnivore for the month of January. So get ready for the walking challenge and for Carnivore Month. Get ready. We're gonna show you how to get prepared to do Carnivore Month. Ladies, good to see your faces again. And thank you, Simpson Johns. I'm glad to be here. You're most welcome, dear.
Yeah. See y'all next week, everybody. Y'all hold
Take
on.
care.